Hello everyone, welcome to my channel where we discuss matters personal and academic development. In this video, I'm going to take you through the 4 books that I read in September 2023. And I have to say that this is the best combination of books I have read in a month in the year 2023. So sit back, grab your coffee or tea, and let's dissect these books.
One of the key themes in this book is the idea of solitude and inner exploration. Rilke argues that before artists can connect to the outside world through their works, they need to first connect to themselves. Consequently, solitude is not a desolate or a lonely state of being, but rather it is a fertile ground for personal and artistic growth as well as a source of creative energy. Rilke also advocates the beauty of living with questions and uncertainties. He therefore advises couples to have patience with everything unresolved in his heart and to learn to live with the questions themselves. And perhaps in the distant future, he might find himself living the answers without even himself noticing it. In a world where we seek instant answers and fixes, perhaps we can learn something from Rilke to see questions not as obstacles to be overcome, but rather as pathways to deeper understanding and creativity. Rilke also emphasizes the importance of authenticity in creative pursuits. He asserts that true art emerges from the inner depths of our souls, from a place of sincerity and genuine feeling. And therefore, he advises couples to avoid imitating others and to cultivate a unique and authentic voice in his works. And I believe this message resonates well today in a world full of imitation and conformity. Letters to a Young Poet is a timeless classic that continues to guide and inspire not only creatives in pursuit of their passions, but also anyone on their introspective journeys for personal growth. Our second book is Epigenetics: How the Environment Shapes Our Genes by Richard C. Francis. Before I proceed, let me define epigenetics as the long-term alteration in the DNA without changing its sequence. In this book, Richard highlights how our genes respond and adapt to changes in the environment and pass on these changes to future generations. One of the foundations of this book is the Dutch famine cohort study of 1945. So, one of the regions in Netherlands was closed off during the Second World War and experienced a famine. And this study looked at the likelihood of kids who experienced the famine through their mother's wombs developing certain diseases in the future. And what the study found out is that these kids had a higher likelihood of developing obesity, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, mental health disorders, and also things like lung and kidney problems. But the main interesting thing is that the type of the disease depended on whether they experienced the famine during the first trimester, the second, and third trimester. And what really, now we go back to the definition of epigenetics, they didn't inherit the disease-causing genes from their mothers. Rather, these are genes that were activated because of the famine. And if you're starting to get worried, then you shouldn't. Because amid the cautionary tales, the book also imparts a sense of optimism. Francis elucidates how positive lifestyle changes, such as a balanced diet, physical exercise, and stress reduction can reverse such harmful epigenetic modifications, promoting health and well-being. And as they say, genes load the gun, but your lifestyle pulls the trigger. Our third book takes us even deeper into the world of genetics. The Gene, An Intimate History by Siddhartha Mukherjee. The book is an awe-inspiring odyssey through the annals of genetics. It traces the history of our understanding of heredity, starting from the discovery of the gene by the Moravian monk Gregor Mendel, with his groundbreaking work with pea plants in 1850s to the latest technologies in gene editing. Mukherjee, a cancer physician and researcher, a stem cell biologist, a cancer geneticist, and an assistant professor of medicine at Columbia University, weaves together the history, the science, and the ethical dimensions of the gene, unraveling its profound impact on our lives. He narrates the history of genetics through human stories, including his family's struggles with mental illness, bringing genetics out of the lab into our everyday lives, making it relatable and engrossing to readers of all backgrounds. In this, he compellingly presents the dynamic interplay between genes and the environment, shedding light on how the two interact to shape who we are. Mukherjee, a gifted storyteller, also makes you feel the pain of the pioneers in the field. Personally, I sympathize with Rosa Franklin, whose images were used by Watson, Crick, and Wilkins in discovering the double helical structure of the DNA molecule. Yet she was excluded in the 1962 Nobel Prize in Medicine that was eventually won by Watson, Crick, and Wilkins. A few months ago, I visited Cambridge, and outside the Eagle pub, where Watson and Crick were regulars and celebrated their discovery, there's a plaque outside the bar, and someone had scratched the plaque and added Rosa Franklin's name. The book also narrates the ethical questions throughout the history of genetic research, starting with the work of Galton, who was Charles Darwin's cousin, whom he thought a better human race was possible by regulating marriage, and he is credited for coining the term eugenics in the 1860s. Eugenics would later open the way for Americans to enact laws to imprison and later sterilize people they considered feeble-minded, which was a vague term to describe anyone whose behavior, appearance, desires, and choices fell outside the norm in the 1920s. And finally, the Nazi eugenic concentration camps and outright murder of Jews in the 1930s and early 40s, who they considered inferior. The gene not only educates us about genetic research, but also raises ethical and philosophical questions about the power and responsibility that comes with the newfound ability to manipulate it. For instance, what is the place of selective abortion after genetic testing in utero? If human beings can enhance themselves through gene editing, where are the boundaries and whose metrics will be used? In addition, is there such a thing as normalcy versus disease, or just a misfit of the environment when it comes to certain disorders? These are some of the questions that Mukherjee raises in concluding his book. Yet, genetic research has also contributed to technologies that have been used to treat genetic diseases, and we are still researching whether we can treat cancer in genetics. This is one of the books I really enjoyed, and as I turned the last of the 500 pages, I couldn't help but appreciate the beauty and complexity of genetics and question my career choices. Our final destination today is Phantoms in the Brain by Sandra Blakeslee and Ramachandran. The book explores bizarre neurological conditions such as phantom limbs, in which amputees continue to feel sensations and even pain in limbs that no longer exist. And this offers insights of how our bodies are mapped in our brain. The book also delves into brain plasticity, how the brain can adapt and rewire itself, raising profound insights into our understanding of consciousness and reality. The book also challenges our concepts of self and identity, questioning the nature of reality through the connection between our physical brains and our subjective experiences. There you go, guys. Those are the 4 books that made it to my reading list in September. If there is any book that caught your attention, please let me know. Until next time, happy reading, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Thank you.